What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today for another episode of the deck introduction series. So this month, it is Introduction to Tearalaments. I did want to bring you guys this earlier so you have more time to prepare for sneak peeks and stuff like that and getting the cards that you need. However, I have been a little bit unwell for the past 2 weeks, so we're bringing it to you now. Yeah, I do apologize for being a little slow on this one. The flip side is, though, we do have the rarity breakdown for this. Weirdly, this is higher rarity stuff than Splight, but I guess this will be better long term. At first, on release, this deck, I honestly don't see doing that much. Going back through older OCG breakdowns, in the first 2-3 weeks of having both Splight and Tearalaments did literally nothing. It was only once people pivoted was then when we saw Tearalaments start to kind of show up, and then when they get the Ishizu stuff, it's busted. But hey, pick it up now, get ready for your Ishizu stuff later, and yeah, you're gonna have a good time. We will go through all of these one by one, but of course, sorry, before we do get started, please remember to hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people to the channel. And let's get into this deck introduction. So starting us off, we will go with the main monster, I guess. It is Rhino Heart. It is the only one also that has a different effect to the others, so we're going to go through Rhino Heart first. Focus on it as, I guess, the main deck monster, and then we'll break down the others after that. So Rhino Heart, on normal or special summon, sends a Tearalement from your deck to your graveyard. When we go through the rest of them, you will find out that, hey, that starts your entire fusion summon lines, so yeah, good thing to be doing. And then if this card is sent from... Oops, sorry, I've missed my point there. If this card is sent to graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send one Tearalaments from your hand to the graveyard. So yeah, we're again turning more stuff on, setting things by card effect. The thing you'll find out with Rhino Heart and the Rhino Heart fusion, they just kind of come back, and it's pretty busted. This banishes itself when it leaves the field. I'm almost certain the fusion doesn't, and that becomes really busted when we get to that. But now we go through the rest of the Tearalaments cards. They all, of course, will fusion summon when you go back into the deck, by putting themselves back into the deck. So starting us off, we have Tearalaments Halfwenis. So this one is a quick effect, a special, rather cute. So when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Helps you play on turn 0 to try and, set up things, maybe interrupt your opponent's combo if, hey, you mill, really good cards. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your deck by placing the materials mentioned on it from your hand, field, or graveyard onto the bottom of the deck, including this card in your graveyard. Now, that last little bit there is the reason why DD Crow will be very good in this format. DD Crow can stop Tearalement combos. DD Crow can also stop Splight. So definitely a card I think you should be keeping an eye on as something you maybe want to side or even main deck through the current format, and honestly, maybe until the end of the year. Next off, we do have Tearalaments Miru. So this is on normal or special. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. A little bit slower than the other one, but hey, it still gets the job done. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can fusion summon one fusion material from the extra deck by placing the fusion materials on the bottom of the deck in any order, including this card. They all kind of, from this point on, will have that same effect. And then lastly, we do have Tearalaments Shailene. During the main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. You can hopefully send another Tearalaments from your hand to the graveyard and then combo off from there. And then it does have that other effect of if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, get the fusion material, shuffle at the bottom, must use this card. And then we go into the field spell after this. Now, rather curiously, we will get to it at the end of the field spell's effect. This has been mistranslated for us in the TCG. In the OCG, it is just whenever a card returns to the deck. In the TCG, it says shuffle. According to Konami R&D, shuffle for us just means any card returning to the deck. So you covered in that case. This will, in fact, work that way. So on activation, this adds a Tearalaments monster or Vista Starfrost. Rarely you're going to be adding Vista Starfrost. You're always adding that Tearalaments monster. Fusion monsters and Tearalaments monsters you control gain 500 attack. And then if a Tearalaments monster is returned to the field from your field or graveyard to the deck or extra deck, you can target one card in the field, destroy it. That's the bit that's been mistranslated there. So that effect, yeah, doesn't quite word the same for us, but it will work the same for us. And then you can only use this effect once per turn. You can only activate one of the actual field spells per turn, of course, netting you to that one search. Then we get to our traps. Metanos is not played as much now in the OCG as it was at first. This was one of the more prevalent cards initially, and it does fade away for the negation in favor. So if you control a Tearalaments monster or Vista Starfrost, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, Book of Moonit, then Foolish Burial. So it does Book of Moon a monster, then start up a fusion package. Effectively, this is a fusion summon card that does create a little bit of disruption. So hey, can be very good in your pure lists at first before we do get the Ishizu stuff. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one Tearalaments monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it can get back your Kaleido Heart, or you can get back really anything and turn everything on. Then we get to the busted trap. It's not fully busted, but it's decently busted. This is Tearalaments Salic. If you control a Tearalaments monster or Vista Starfrost, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, then send one monster you control to the graveyard. You can send a little one, and then you can turn on a fusion package with that. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add one Tearalaments monster from your deck to your hand. So has two very good effects there. And you can only use each effect once per turn. So not only one, you get both. Then we get to the fusion monsters. I will go with the smaller one first, and then we'll get to Rhino Heart, because Rhino Heart, Kaleido Heart, very good. So it's Tearalaments Kitkalis. So it's a Tearalaments monster plus an Aqua monster. That's realistically just like the shuffly ones, so the ones that actually do something. So if you just get two of them in bin, away you go. If this card is special summoned, you can take one Tearalaments card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. So can net you another fusion summon. You'll typically use this to get into your Rhino Heart and kind of go from there. Then you can add it to your hand. You can target one monster your opponent controls, special summon one Tearalaments monster from your hand or graveyard. If you do, send the targeted monster to the graveyard. So again, getting you more stuff. You can get all these guys that show up and then on special summon net their effects off. And then finally, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can send the top 5 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So getting a little bit more payoff than the others. Hopefully that then turns on your fusion packages. You can put this card back because it is an Aqua. It is a Tearalaments. You can keep recycling. And then we get to the card that is going to be very good for this deck. It's Tearalaments Kaleido Heart. This does need Rhino Heart plus 2 Aqua monsters, so relatively difficult to summon. But hey, you'll be getting it back, so it doesn't matter. You can't use this card as fusion material, so when your opponent at locals tries to super poly you, you look them in the face to say no. They say you can't respond to it. They say that doesn't matter. You say that doesn't matter. And then if this card is special summoned or an Aqua monster is sent to the graveyard by a card effect while this card is on the field, you can target one monster your opponent controls, shuffle into the deck. Yes, it does target, but it does not destroy, so it can get you around some of those really weird things to out. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, special summon this card. And if you do, send one Tearalaments card from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use each effect of Tearalaments Kaleido Heart once per turn. This does not say banish it when it leaves the field, so if you can't out this twice on one turn, this is going to be very difficult for you to out. So yeah, keep that in mind. I have had this list on the screen for a little while now, so we're not going to go through this list specifically. This is more of just a relatively simple branded / kind of small Shadow package Tearalaments list. I think this will be one of the better lists when this deck first comes out. However, we will get to an alternative that is more branded heavy after this. Okay, and now we are back with a branded list. So this is a much smaller Tearalaments package and a much wider, I guess, Albaz / branded package after that. So for something like this, you'd look at your standard Albaz package, like ad libitum, your 3 copies of Aluba. You go for a lot of hand traps in this list because you have a lot of space. Just the 1 Tragedy is necessary with the 2 Albaz and then the 1 Mercuria. Again, like I said, a lot of space for hand traps in a list like this, especially when you cut down on your Tearalaments to just a 1-1-1 ratio, because it can effectively do the job. Also Fusion Deployment, getting you Rhino Heart. Rather cute. Then we have our 3 branded Fusion, 2 branded in red, 3 opening, a Cold Buy, a Foolish, your 2 Fusion Deployments, and then your 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. I want to say Fusion Impermanence there. Then for your extra deck, you'd be looking at, again, a standard line of like 2-2-2-2-2. Except you have the 1 Mud Dragon, 2 Dragostapelia, just the 1 Kaleido Heart with the 1 Kitkalis. And then we have 1 Trouble Sunny because we're playing the Ultimate Slay here. And then 1 copy of Striker Dragon after that. Ultimate Slay into Trouble Sunny. Gonna be really good next format. In a list like this as well, you can also look at stuff like Deck Devastation Virus. Can really just end Splat's day. And then finally, we do come to what is effectively as close to a tier 0 deck that you're looking at out of Tearalaments. And that's when you mix it with the Ishizu stuff. You are just going to get a lot of pluses in a list like this, which is why this deck is so busted. The only thing to consider is that you're not going to have stuff like Grass in the TCG, unless, who knows, they could put a list in the meantime, bring back Grass just to make this deck incredibly busted and drive product sales, or they could like release this and if it's not busted, bring back grass. Who knows? I'm trying to theorize ways here that we can get grass back. But effectively, this is the list that you're going to be looking at. It is just maximizing everything because you will get access to everything in a list like this. For your Ishizu package, you're going with the 3 Agdito, 3 copies of Kelbeck, 3 copies of Keldo, and then 3 copies of Medora. All of these, yeah, just this deck is really unfair when it resolves, and you're just kind of not going to have a fun time. Mirrors of this, also not pleasant. You're both going to be doing a lot, and that's not fun. It's going to be super confusing. This could also be like as confusing a mirror as the Flonderis mirror, because you're both going to be resolving a lot of effects because of a little card down here called Exchange of the Spirit. But then we do have our 3 copies of Tearalaments each in a list like this, of course, maximizing on everything. And then as you get through to the graveyard, you have a lot more, the extra deck, you have a lot more room for flex and stuff like that. Nothing in here that's a massive tech card that you kind of need to know because you're going to be playing mirrors, and this is a very good deck. Very, very good deck. But that does wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations for things that you would do with your Tearalaments combos, do make sure to comment them down below. And of course, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.